Welcome to beautiful Brussels, the city known for its French fries, waffles, and moules. Today we're visiting two-star Michelin restaurant Bozar that is run and operated by Karen Torosyan. While respecting tradition, he has developed his own unique cooking style, and I'm very much interested in seeing what it's all about. So please sit back and enjoy while I take you through this gastronomic evening in Brussels. The dining room feels very classical with its dark wood interior. But when you look at the table settings, everything is fresh and clean, and everything on the table has a purpose of being there. The menu offers a 7 and a 5-course menu, and there's also an a la carte option. Tonight I went with the 5-course menu, and that was built up with 3 different savory courses, 1 pre-dessert and a final dessert. We started up with a beautiful bread serving here containing a warm brioche bun and some French butter. Also on the side we had some bread crackers that was also very nice. Before our menu started, we were offered a few different snacks. The first one here was a veal tartare in a tartelette with some gorgonzola and some capers. It was beautiful with a lot of textural elements going on here, with a crispy layer on top and a lot of earthy flavors going on. Following that was a jambon persil, that is a very classical dish from the Burgundy region in France. Here in a smaller version topped with a horseradish cream. Nice and vibrant, but it wasn't the best jambon persil I've ever tasted. And finally we were offered a Guilladot oyster dish with some daikon radish and a dashi broth. I like the flavors of this dish, and I like that the service staff were pouring the broth tableside. However, it was a little bit difficult to eat with only the spoon offered here. Next came the first dish of the 5-course menu, and this was the sea crab from Brittany with some sorrel and caviar. And this was one of the highlights of the evening. A beautiful dish to look at, and the flavors were absolutely divine. A lot of different textures, and the balance of this dish was spot on. After that we got some more bread, and this time it was a classical sourdough baguette, and it was served with a hummus. Baguette was of decent quality, and the hummus also. It wasn't anything exciting for me to eat this, and I would actually have preferred just some more butter to have with the baguette here. From one of the highlights of the meal to one of the weaker courses. Here we had some eggplant from Sicily together with some miso, alg sauce and also some clams. Now there were some technical issues with this dish. The clams were quite sandy, and that's a huge problem when you're eating like this, right? You don't want to have small stones in your mouth while chewing on a 2 Michelin star dish. Besides that, the flavor combination didn't really work for me here. To have the more seafood flavor here with the clams and the alg sauce together with the eggplant caviar. It didn't work for me, it wasn't a good marriage, so I was a little bit surprised of the quality of this dish. Next came in the main course, and here we had a wild turbot together with some potatoes and asparagus and a quite heavy sauce with morel mushrooms inside it. This was a beautiful dish to look at, and I absolutely love when the serving staff are pouring the sauce tableside here and making a little bit theater of the dish. Digging into the actual flavors of the dish, everything here was perfectly cooked. I mean, that the fish and the asparagus and the execution there on the potatoes that were baked in a puff pastry type of a pie and then cut into that nice wedge. Flavors from the morel mushroom sauce were deep and nice, and it was a really strong dish here. What I maybe was missing a little bit was to have a little bit of a surprising element to the dish, just to lift it to that next level that you often see in a restaurant with 2 Michelin stars like this one. Next we were offered a pre-dessert here consisting of raw fennel that was thinly shaved, and then we had some almonds in form of a sorbet, and it was topped with olive oil and a crispy layer on top. Now, this was a very fresh dish, but it didn't really deliver on flavor that much, and I was a little bit let down by this experience. Luckily things changed when the main dessert entered the table. This was a beautiful composition of strawberries with cottage cheese and vanilla. The Garriguette strawberries that were just coming into season were of a very high quality and had such a clean strawberry taste that I haven't had in a very long time. The cottage cheese in form of a mousse underneath the strawberries in the tartlet just lifted the whole experience. It made a really smooth texture in your mouth, and it didn't take away anything from the actual strawberries. The vanilla tones were just in the background in just the right way. This was truly a beautiful dish. After that fantastic final dessert, we were offered a few mignardises to end our meal with. One was a fruit gel made up with blood orange, and then we had a small bergamot pie with a meringue topping, and then we had a small bite of tiramisu flavors. All of them were very pleasant to eat, and my favorite among them were the blood orange jelly. It had a very clean flavor, it wasn't too sweet, it had a nice balance throughout it. A perfect ending to this meal. So what did I think then about my visit here at restaurant Bozar? It was a little bit of a roller coaster throughout the dinner here, with some dishes being absolutely great, but also some dishes that really didn't deliver the expectation that I had on them. The highlights for me were the sea crab from Brittany with the sorrel and caviar, and the dessert with strawberry that we had in the end. Both of those dishes delivered on a high quality note that I was expecting to have in a 2-star establishment. I'm gonna put the food rating here at 90 points, and that I think is a pretty fair score for the food that I was offered today. For the service rating, I'm gonna place that 1 point below the food there at 89 points, and that is due to some smaller mistakes that happened through the evening, with some plate left on the table a little bit too long, and same with some glasses. I think there was some miscommunication that happened through the very young service staff that was working this evening. And maybe if you would have a more senior person overseeing the service, that wouldn't have been a problem. And last but not least, we're coming to the value scoring of this restaurant, and I'm placing that at 85 points. It's good value, but it's not great based on the ingredients and how much you got of them on the place that was served tonight. Alright, that sums up this review from Brussels and restaurant Bozar. I hope you liked this content, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.